Going live.
Good.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Living Boldly podcast by Trailblazer Femme. This is your host, Thrive with Dr. B. And with me today is Coach Fofo Mofoluwaso Ilevbare.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome. So, today we're going to be talking about how to stress proof your work life or your life in general. Isn't that just amazing? We got a request from one of our viewers to talk about how trailblazing women can stress proof their life. So, today we're going to be looking at that topic. And the big question is that even possible? Is it possible to stress proof your life? So, I'm going to have Coach Fofo kick it off at this time, and then we'll take it from there. So, what is stress? What are the kinds of stress? And how are we kicking off today?
Yeah. Hi, Dr. B. I trust you've had a stress-free week, which I doubt. But in today's day and age, stress is a big part of life. And I'm excited about the topic because it's exactly what we're going through as trailblazers, either at work or in life. And stress, is that part of life. It's already a part of us. Is a natural reaction of the body systems to either a physiological, a biological, an emotional or a physical strain that we feel, something that happens in our day-to-day life. So whether you're preparing the kids for school or you're working on a proposal at work or you are exercising, there is a level of stress that we all go through every day. Now, the psychologists and researchers have talked about the different types of stress. The eustress, which is the EUSTRESS, and the distress. There is a level of stress that is needed to give us the inertia to do anything, the emotional drive, the mental capacity, the ability to run away from fear when you notice something, when you notice you're in danger, the ability to stretch yourself a little beyond the ordinary so you can do extraordinary things. So there is the eustress, which we all need to a large extent. But then there is de-stress, which is the DI. And that means that the stress has moved beyond that stretch limit and it's moving into a breaking point. You know how it is when you have a rubber band. Every rubber band can stretch to a certain capacity. But at some point, when you overstretch it, it leads to, it snaps. And that's exactly what happens. Sometimes with de-stress, we end up being burnt out, we end up being overly stressed, and that creates a lot more emotions and could lead to certain illnesses in our systems. So, eustress is great, distress, not good. It's just finding the balance in between in the amount of things that we have to cope with, while alive. What do you think, Dr. B?
Amazing. And that eustress is sometimes what keeps us going with our passionate endeavors. Some of us, no matter how tired you are, you might just be keen on making a phone call, jumping on a live call, doing coaching for a client, maybe singing with your choir or volunteering in your community. Even though it's not like you have all the time to be able to do those things, but because you derive some passion, some achievements from doing those things, it keeps you going and it drives you to be able to achieve those results. And the thing is, yes, we do agree that stress can be a medical condition as well. And, being a stressful condition on this podcast today, we're not necessarily trying to provide medical guidance or trying to prescribe what should be done. So if you're going through stress, which is distress, please consult with your medical provider. But we're just talking about the everyday challenges we go through that sometimes stress us in life. And what are some of the physical signs of stress? Sometimes some people have headaches, some folks are not able to sleep, some their blood pressure goes up, some they just can't concentrate on anything because they're stressed out. So there can be so many signs that come up when you're stressed. So that is what we're talking about. So we're not going to go into all the medical aspects of this, but we're just talking about, okay, what is going on in our everyday life and how can we address this? So today we're going to be looking at 7 B's. B, letter B. B for Dr. B. Well, that's not really the reason why we came up with the B's. But we found out that these are tips that can help you to handle and deal with stress. And basically, for all of you listening today or watching the replay, know for sure that sometimes you can use any of these bees. You might be using some of them already, or if you're not, just pick on one or two of them that can help you to be able to address any distressful situations that might be going on in your life or that might come up in the future. So, the first in this series we're going to talk about is boundaries. B for boundaries. And what are boundaries? Boundaries, if we think about it in just literal terms, is like drawing a line between point A and point B and saying, please do not cross this line. The crazy example that comes to mind sometimes when couples are having issues and they kind of divide the bed and like, okay, this is your side of the bed, I'm turning this way and all that, but that was just a random thing. But boundaries are basically the measures we put in place that help to guide our day-to-day living and can be very helpful in reducing stress. Coach Fofo, can you speak a little more about that?
Absolutely. And as you talk about boundaries, in my mind, it's a ruler that comes to mind. When we were in school and they're teaching us how to draw straight lines or how to write in lines, or maybe even you're at the airport, you find those barricades that just say, okay, stay within this boundary. But many times we have these boundaries in real life, but we usually don't structure them into our lives as well. And it's very important if we want to manage stress, especially when it's coming from different angles that we don't anticipate. It's important to create those boundaries. One of those boundaries is learning to say no, learning to say no, no to things that don't add value to you, to things that elevate your stress levels, to people, to resources. It could be apps, it could even be your phone at some point, it could be notifications that keep showing up. So it's very important to understand what are the boundaries I am putting in place on my heart, in my physical health, in my mental health. What are the boundaries I'm putting in for my family, for my career, for my relationships, to be able to help me manage the stress that I'm going through in everyday life? So saying no is a way of creating boundaries. Another one is allocating your time, understanding that time is finite. And because time is finite, how you spend it matters. I always have this phrase that the value you place on your life is also the value you place on your time. If you think about time from the context of time is a part of my life, then how you spend the time, who you spend the time with, what you spend the time doing, where you spend your time will all reflect on how you value your life. So, allocating your time to different things, either at work or life, is a way of also putting boundaries in place. Another concept we talk in boundaries is planning. Planning your day. When you wake up in the morning, before you pick up your phone, before you check what's on the schedule for the meetings, and before everybody else drops something in your agenda, how are you planning yourself into your agenda? How are you planning your self care into your agenda? What are the things that you're listening to, and which ones are adding value to you, and which ones are not? So, boundaries are a big part of managing stress. And, I'm sure there are other examples that come to mind. But when you think about it, a big part of de-stressing or stress proofing your work life is setting the right boundaries that support you. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks for sharing, Coach Fofo. So moving on to the next B. The next B we'll be talking about today has to do with breaks. B for breaks. So at every point in our life, we have to think of when to take the brakes, when to press the brakes. When you're driving a car, you can't just keep accelerating all the time. When you're getting to a stop sign, you need to slow down. When you're getting to the speed limit, you need to press the brakes and step down. If something suddenly pops into the street while you're driving, you have to slow down. So, addressing and living a stress free or stress reduced life includes incorporating breaks. And as career women, what do these breaks involve? Many times it involves, or many of us think about it in terms of taking leave. Yes, please do take your leave. Do not leave your leave to your employer to use it for you. Sometimes in some organizations, you have what you call use or lose leave. That means you either use it or you lose it. And there's no reason why you should be losing your leave time. So use your leave, schedule your leave time appropriately, speak to your supervisor if needed, to make sure you plan in advance. Sometimes some emergencies can come up that will still necessitate using the leave in a pre-planned fashion. But as much as possible, work with your supervisor, work with your team if you're a supervisor to make sure you're covered when you leave the office. And when you take these leaves, try as much as possible to leave work behind. There's some of us, even when we're on leave, we're still checking emails, we're still replying to someone. There's something called out of office. Just put it there. From January 1st to January 10th, I'm going to be out of the office. I'll reply to your email when I come back. If you need to reach someone urgently, please reach out to Coach Fofo because Dr. B is out of service. So, you can put these measures in place to ensure that you're taking care of yourself. But beyond that, it shouldn't just be the long vacation and the long leave days only. You're entitled to lunch breaks, you're entitled to bathroom breaks. Make sure you're using those. And if at any point, even in your day, that you feel like you're overwhelmed and you just need a breather, just speak to your colleagues, speak to your supervisor, take a stroll. It's amazing what 5 minutes of fresh air or water or talking to someone outside of the work day to day can do to improve your well being. So take these breaks and it will help to reduce the stress. There's a concept that says boring is sometimes good. Many times we're like, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored. But it's okay to be bored. Just stay right there, relax, replenish, and restore yourself so that you'll be better equipped for the next phase of your life. And in taking breaks too, also sleep comes in. There's a recommended at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep in a day for each person. If you're having trouble sleeping, we have experts these days that are sleep doctors. Talk to them, work out a routine, and as much as possible, try and get in those snooze hours. Sometimes some of us end up like not sleeping for 5 days in a row. Then you think that on day 6 and 7, you'll catch up. The body doesn't work that way. So take those breaks, take those leaves, and try to reduce those stresses in your life. And moving on, we're going to be talking about breathing, like taking deep breaths, exercising, and all that. And this also ties to the breaks aspect part of it. So I'll let Coach Fofo speak to that also.
All right. And maybe we could just practice it. Dr. B, just take a deep breath. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, and then exhale. Ooh. As busy women and busy trailblazers, or even generally people, sometimes we forget to take deep breaths. And breathing is something that I believe it's something that God has given, really. It just helps us to get more oxygen into the brain. It helps you to exhale some level of stress. Experts have also said, breathing is excellent for falling asleep. I don't know if you've been checking the internet lately, but there is this report about the 478 technique, a relaxation exercise that involves breathing in for 4 counts, holding that breath for about 7 counts, and exhaling for another 8 counts. And it's been proven that when you practice that 478 technique, it can help you to relax and probably sleep better. But you know what? Even at work, there are times when we're stressed in meetings. You're about to make a big decision, or there are many alternatives in your way and many form of distractions or many urgent things. One of the things you can do to de-stress is to take a deep breath before you make those decisions. I've been in situations where under stress I've made some decisions that ended up not being the best option at that time. Or maybe while being under pressure, I was asked a question and without thinking about it, I kind of just answered the question, which maybe did not help the situation. It's very important to take a deep breath. Now I encourage myself and I remind myself to do it before I make a major decision or when I'm surrounded by things that I know are distracting my attention or concentration. Just taking a deep breath before you decide what to do, before you make that statement, before you sign that check, before you write that proposal, can help your brain to reset itself and help your thinking faculty to process the information a bit better. So, breathing is an important part. If you either go to the gym as well, it's something that the instructors teach us as well. How do you breathe properly during exercises in a way that it helps your entire system? You have the right hormones, you have the right mix of information, you have the right space and head space to think through your processes. So it might be the stress from home, it might be the stress at the shops, it might be the stress at the car parking lot before you vent out at someone else. Just take a deep breath and decide what do I want to do with that. But then breathing is a big way of de-stressing and it comes natural. It's free. So let's use it as much as possible. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. The next B we're going to talk about is the body system, BUDDY. And basically, like in the military, this is done a lot where someone is paired with another person. So basically, that person looks out for you. But in terms of stress proofing your life, the body system refers to getting help. So, who is that person that can help you to be more productive and to reduce the stress levels in your life? If you look at the various aspects of your life, whether spiritual, physical, career, emotional, and all that, there should be someone that you can run to, that you can ask for help. So, looking at a setup, it could be your brother, your sister, a close friend, a spouse or significant other. At the workplace, it could be your direct reports that report to you. You can ask them for help. Or it could be even your supervisor. You can lead up and let them know this is what I have on my plate. I need help with this or with something else. So look for the body system that can help you to reduce the items on your plate. Also, as trailblazing career women, sometimes we're managing our homes, we're managing our businesses, we're managing maybe our children, our projects, and everything. You could get a virtual assistant, you could get a personal assistant. All you have to do is just outline the things that maybe it's not your zone of genius. So people, hire out cleaning their houses. Some people maybe even catering food wise. Some people projects, cleaning out your inbox, giving it out to someone to help you review items, or just delegating tasks that take up your time and wipe you out by the end of the day. Ask for the help, and when the help comes, be sure to embrace it. Body system.
Yeah. And if I could add to that, it's also body systems are also our mentors and career sponsors. If you think about it, or even just colleagues at work, many of us are either changing careers as well, changing organizations, relocating to different countries. You don't have to live alone. You don't have to manage the stress alone. So find people around you, your colleagues who can help you around town. Where are the closest markets? Where are the closest shops? Where do you find this or that? You could find a mentor that can help you with communicating at work, with knowing what the nuances are, the unspoken culture and the language in the place that can help you to settle down as well. And if you're a senior executive woman, I expect that you would have at least a career sponsor. And sponsors are there, they're part of your body system as well. They help to take out some stress. They help to put your name forward in rooms where you may never be. They help to mention you and give you open doors to many projects that you probably have not thought about. So your body system is also people at work, it's also people in your networking. Many of us are on LinkedIn. How are you leveraging the body system on LinkedIn? How are you reaching out to people either in a career field you want to get into? Sometimes when we do the career coaching or consulting for people, we look through their connections. And many times we have all these connections or all these followers on LinkedIn that we're not even connecting with. You can have virtual coffee chats with them. Recently, we had a trailblazer firm who moved into the UK. And one of the things that we're trying to do is who are the people within your locality or within your office environments that you can already connect with on LinkedIn. So the body system can help you to reduce stress as much as possible. We were never built to be alone. Fine, I know pandemic made us stay home for about 18 months or more in some cases, but you know what? We're built for community. We were built to connect. We were built to support one another. So strong women know when to ask for help. Make sure
Yes.
that you're asking for the help, because would you rather get the help or would you rather get burnt out? It's a choice. And we're encouraging you today to take the right choice to help you to de-stress in your work and life.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and as we're speaking about that, there's also another aspect that talks about battle picking. So another B is picking which battles you need to fight or run and live another day. You want to speak more to that?
Oh, absolutely. Battle picking. I think that's a very essential one that we need to talk about. There are many things in life that require our attention. And like they say, action and reaction. But sometimes not every action requires a reaction. Thinking about how to respond and being intentional about how you respond is a big part of distressing and a big part of ownership. Whenever we have these actions that maybe show up either intentionally or intentionally, before we react, it's important to process and say, is this a battle I want to fight? Is this a battle I want to get into? Do I need to put my gloves on this one? Or is it one that, you know what, will it matter 1 week from now? Will it matter 1 month from now? Will it matter 1 year from now? So, giving yourself the time to choose the battles that you will extend your energy in matters a lot, because that's also a way of managing the stress that we go through in life. There's some things that will happen at work, some things people will say, some projects on your table, some conversations. You can choose where to spend your energy, because guess what? Stress and negative energy, they usually go hand in hand. When you protect yourself from some of these negative influences, it can help you to manage your stress better. So, whenever you have a situation at hand, ask yourself, will this matter? Can someone else do it? Is this a battle I want to fight? Or is this something, you know what, I'll just let it slide? When you ask yourself those questions, you can choose your response rather than react instantly. And when you do that, you put yourself in a place of feeling powerful enough to make the choices that matter in your life. So, battle picking, I sign up for that any single day.
How about we say no battles altogether?
Oh, no battles at all. Well, we wish we could have no battles in life, but the point is, yes, if you can go for no battles, all well and good. But when they come, instead of reacting, choose your response. Is this a battle I want to
Definitely,
fight? Can someone else
definitely.
do the fighting? Can
Hmm.
we resolve a compromise where we don't even have to fight at all? Or will this matter 1 month from now?
Exactly. And many times we have to do that assessment because that actually burns you out if you're like involved in every battle because it just never ends. Sometimes some of us are in the perfectionist range, you want everything to go exactly as planned. But like you said, the question is it really worth it? So pick your battles and reduce your stress. And moving on from there to the sixth B at this time, So we've talked about boundaries, we've talked about deep breaths, we just talked about battle picking. And right now, I'm just, thinking of also the term busyness, not business, but busyness. Many times we're busy doing things, just going and going and going. And for some of us, sometimes it feels psychologically rewarding, but at the end of the day, you get stressed out, you get burnt out, and you're not able to be as productive as you need to be. So, busyness in its entirety is actually not something that we should be relishing in or feeling like, oh, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. I'm wearing it as a badge of honor all the time. We all know we're busy, but that shouldn't always be what people remember you for. The like the first thing, even to our kids sometimes and to our colleagues, even before they say anything, you're already like, you know what, I'm busy. And busyness doesn't necessarily equate to productivity. So look at your life. Sometimes it's good to take an assessment of your day. Just pick out a week and kind of monitor what you do every day, from wake up to sundown when you go to bed. Take an active role and actually document it from sunrise to sunset. And you find out that there are pockets of time where you thought you were actually busy, but at the end of the day, you were just basically busy doing nothing, and it burns you out, it reduces your productivity. So taking that assessment and being able to do an inventory of your time will help you discover the pockets where you're not utilizing your time effectively well. Maybe you're not even getting enough sleep or enough breaks, like the things we've talked about. And it will help you to make an adjustment as necessary in how to adapt your life to reduce the stress levels. Yes.
Absolutely. And we call it almost like the zigzag. So just zigzagging your life or following yourself around for about 2 or 3 days is a good regimen that you can do. And from the moment you wake up till the moment you go to sleep, almost every hour, just make a mental note. What am I doing in the moment? What am I doing in the moment? Is it helping my agenda? Is it moving things forward, or is it creating stress? And you'll be amazed when you zigzag your life for about 2 or 3 days. I'm sure you will find some of those pockets of busyness in quote where you could use some of the D's that we talk about at Trailblazer FM. Is it something that I can do or someone else can do it? Is this something I can delegate? Is this something I can delete? Or is this something I can defer? And when you take the time to put yourself in a position of making those decisions, it can help you to manage your stress as well. Sometimes the term being a superwoman, being a strong woman, sometimes we wear busyness as a form of pride. I've been busy, I've been busy, but the downside to it is not every activity makes us productive, and not every activity helps our mental health, our mental well-being, our performance, and our productivity. So organize your calendar. Find out where are those moments where you're just busy but not necessarily being productive. How much time are you spending checking through emails, several emails, sitting in long meetings without necessarily being productive, and start to create little pockets of time and space. When I look at my calendar at work, every Monday morning, or sometimes I do it Sunday night, but most times Monday morning, I block out a space the very first part of my day to kind of just remap my agenda. People have put different meetings in there, but now I want to schedule myself in my agenda. Where is my thinking time? Where is my rest time? Where is my time to connect with other colleagues? And when is my time to round up on some of the things that I've been working on? When you put yourself in a position where you are in control of your calendar, of your agenda, you know how much time you're spending on emails and in meetings, and you're zigzagging your life to find those productive or unproductive spots, it can help you to manage your stress much better. So those are some of the concepts when it comes to busyness. It's not something to wear as a pride. There are many people who get burnt out. The world deserves the best of us, not what is left of us. So when you think about it every day, am I replenishing my energy so I can give more to the world? Am I replenishing my energy so I can cuddle my family a bit better? Am I giving enough to myself so that I can continue to upskill myself, build my capacity, but also recover from the stress that goes on in our lives? We want you to last long, okay? We're going to live to like 200.
Yes,
Girl. So,
yes,
yeah.
definitely. And the last B, I talked about 7 Bs and I'll recap it that we're going to address. But, as we're continuing, is there any of the Bs that resonates with you? Any questions, any aha moments, or which of them are you going to take a closer look as you look to stress proof your life? And the final B we're going to talk about today is Plan B.
Plan B.
Many of you have heard about that. And sometimes, it connotes like a negative feeling. And sometimes some people are like, no, I'm going to stick to my plan A and walk through it all. I'll say there are situations, yeah, where you should stay on your plan A, but there's a reason why plan B might also be an option. So leave room for the plan Bs in your life and stay focused and stay motivated and try to balance, the stress levels with many things that come up. Coach Fofo, what is there a plan B that
Or a
pops
plan
out
C
for?
or a plan D in between
Yeah,
the A and the Z.
yeah, there's a I think it was a cartoon or something I saw one time. It says if plan A doesn't work, remember there are 25 other
Exactly.
alphabets.
Exactly. And guess what? There are 25 other alphabets. It can be a plan B or a plan C or a plan D. And let's think about it. Even at work, we have those emergency response protocols, right? And if you think about your emergency protocols, there's not just a plan A. There's a plan B, and then if plan B doesn't work, what will be the next one? What will be the next one? What will be the next one? Because life is full of uncertainties. And if there's anything that COVID has reminded us about, it's reminded us that there are things in life that we cannot control. And it reminds me of this book. You remember the book? We wrote a book, Living Boldly. Living Boldly, how to transform your life from the inside out when your normal shifts. And your normal can shift at any time. Let's be honest. Even as we're talking right now, something can come up in your life that just shifts your normal again. So when that happens, reassess your stress levels, reassess the situation, and decide, do I continue on my plan A, or do I need to move to a plan B or a plan C or a plan D? It doesn't mean that you are diminishing your value or you're going for something that is substandard. What you're doing is you're being accountable to yourself in that situation to assess what it is that you want to do. Some of us stay with a plan A, and despite the fact that things have shifted in our environment, we're not aware of those changes. And because we're not aware about those changes, it's creating a higher level of stress because you're either beating a dead horse or you keep pushing and trying to get that horse to drink water. And somehow circumstances have changed. So, whenever you find out that you're having a higher level of stress in making a decision about something, or you're experiencing a body reaction or a mental reaction or a physiological reaction, assess for yourself, what is the root cause of this issue? And if you need professional help, you go get the help. But we're just talking about the natural stress that happens in everyday life. A plan B or a plan C or a plan D might still get you to that destination and keep you alive rather than sticking with a plan A where you're not changing or pivoting or reassessing the situation and taking a different turn to be able to get to your goals. Yes, you have a vision, you have a goal, but sometimes you might need to pivot or you might need to readjust your action plans that you're putting in place. It might be getting help. It might be the boundaries. It might be the breaks we're talking about. It might even be just simply going back to the drawing board and restarting again and saying, you know what, something has shifted. And because it's shifted, I need to do something else. So a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, a plan Z, you know what? Most importantly, pay attention to how you're feeling in the moment, what is shifting around you, and what it is that you need to do or be to be able to adjust yourself and continue to trailblaze at work and life. Yeah.
The
Dr. B, can you still hear us? You're kind of frozen. All right. So while we're waiting for Dr. B, it's very important, to think about these B's. And one of the questions she asked is, of all the 7 B's we've talked about, which one are you going to focus on? And if I take myself as an example, one of the ones that I am redefining for myself are boundaries. Boundaries, family boundaries, personal boundaries, creating breaks for myself in my agenda, creating time to replenish, creating time to assess who are the multipliers in my life. What are the apps that are dividing things in my situation? What are the people or apps or technology or things or processes? What are those things that are subtracting from my energy? What are those things that are adding to my positive energy? What are the situations in life that are within my focus of control, and which are the ones that are outside of my control, and how am I managing those situations? One exercise I do at least, once a week before the new week starts is to assess my energy tanks. I look at those energy tanks, and basically 5 of them: my spiritual tank, my mental tank, my physical tank, my emotional tank, and my relational, which is family. And I think about those tanks and say, in the course of the week, which of these tanks got depleted? Was it my spiritual tank? Was it my physical tank? Was it my family tank? Was it my mental tank? And what that does is it helps me to think about what I need to invest time more on the weekend. So maybe it's my physical tank that was kind of depleted during the week. Then on the weekend, I might do some physical exercises, or I might find something that just helps to build back that physical tank. If it's an emotional tank, it might just be, oh, maybe I just need to, why am I anxious? Why am I sad? Why am I happy? Why am I frustrated? What are the emotions that I'm feeling? I try to name that emotion. Where is it coming from? And I start to think about what I need to do to be able to process the information that happens in there. Sometimes it's my mental tank, and I say, okay, how can I build my mental capacity? Maybe I read a good book. Maybe I read a novel. Maybe I watch a movie. Maybe I go out with friends. So when you pay attention to what's causing your stress, it can help you to assess what is it that you need to do to be able to overcome it or to cope with it. There are many things around us, and stress is sometimes not always easy to recognize, but there are signs that can help you to recognize them. It could be a headache that just keeps staying there and it's not going away. It could be, people just giving subtle feedbacks or subtle signals about either you're snapping in meetings, or you're not coping with different changes, or if you're a family person, people are saying you're not having time for the kids, or for your husband, or for your family members. It could sometimes be mistaken for anxiety. It could come with some form of nervousness. It could come with poor sleep. It could come with high blood pressure. So pay attention to your bodily signals. Those have been given to us to help us to cope with the stress of life. And when you do that on a regular basis, what you'll find out is you can manage your stress a little bit better in the different situations that you find yourself. Well, I hope that was helpful. This is Trailblazer Femme, and what we do is really helping the trailblazing woman to excel at work and in life, making sure that you are checking yourself, living boldly from the inside out. Here is a book that we've written. You could go on Amazon and you'll find it. If you're thinking about it also, uplift your productivity. There's a book I wrote a while back. It's also on Amazon, 9 strategies to help you maximize time and optimize your life. And when you think about it, what are the things in your environment that can help you to manage stress better? How do you uplift your energy? How do you uplift your space? How do you uplift your relationships? How do you uplift the food that you eat? Because all those things also help us to manage our stress. How do you uplift your communication? Sometimes it's just the way we communicate at work as well. Either we're doing it through email writing or through the physical face to face. How do you uplift those things so that it can help you to manage conflicts at work, can help you manage organization politics when they show up, and basically the different things that we go on through in life? So we want you to tell us, if you're watching this on the replay, tell us which of these B's that you find easy to do and which ones you're going to incorporate. And if you have any questions you want to ask us as well, please feel free to ask us in different scenarios that you're in. The other thing I would mention is we have our membership open. It's an annual membership that helps you to mingle with other women, other trailblazing, ambitious women, that helps you to prioritize the things that are happening on your end. And when you think about it, it helps you to maximize a situation. And we hope that this was helpful to you. We hope that you were able to enjoy the things that go on all around us. And we look forward to seeing you some other time. I'm sure that Dr. B, will be in the chat box, listening to your conversations and working on the things that you need to do. So have a great weekend. As you think about next week, plan, manage, develop new strategies to help you cope with stress, and we'll see you some other time. Goodbye.